Austin Russell, better known as Chumlee, is in jail tonight. He is a part of Porn Stars in Trouble. We got together after a fight. We had a fight. Wow. His sister said he was making fun of her. It turned out that he was being mean to a neighbor. We had a small fight. Nothing too bad. Fans are shocked that Chumlee, the funny guy from Porn Stars, is now going to spend the rest of his life in prison. Chumlee and Corey Harrison grew up together in Henderson, Nevada, and both of them ended up on the popular TV show. Chumlee is known for his jokes and laughter at the gold and silver pawn shop. People liked him because he was charming and good at judging things like old video games and sneakers. Why did Chumlee's life take such a big turn? Let's find out more about what happened in his life. How Austin Lee Russell, better known as Chumlee, went from being a gamer to a porn star. Russell is a famous American businessman and TV star from the History Channel show Porn Stars. The show shows what goes on at the Las Vegas gold and silver swap shop every day, where he works. Because he is friends with Corey Harrison, whose family runs the shop, he started working there 5 years before the show even started. As the sun went down behind the neon lights of Las Vegas, sending long shadows across the pawn shop's crowded aisles, he found a strange, dusty object tucked away behind some old artifacts. A find that could change the course of history, but could also bring up secrets that should stay hidden. He is often the funny guy on the show and always makes people laugh. He can also evaluate many different types of things, such as pinball machines, sports souvenirs, sneakers, toys, and video. There have been reports that he was in a lot of trouble with the law, but it's important to get the whole story. He was born in Henderson, Nevada, on September 8, 1982. At age 12, he got his nickname from the fact that a friend's dad thought his face looked like a walrus, with Tennessee Tuxedo as the voice. He's been known as Chumlee ever since the name stuck. They became best friends when they were kids. Rick, Corey's dad, and Richard, his grandfather, started the pawn shop in 1989. It was soon used as the setting for Porn Stars. When he was 21, he started working there and did things like try goods, move things around, and help with sales. He had been working there for 5 years by the time the show started shooting in July 2009. People on the show often make fun of how smart he is, but he really does know a lot about things, especially Pinball Wizards is an episode that shows how smart he is and shows that he's more than just a funny guy. He stood out for more than just his part on the show though. People liked him a lot, which let him start his own business selling things he made. He gave Rick Harrison $155,000 for half of his business in 2010. The pawn shop was able to handle all of his sales better because of this deal. His goods sold better than those of his co-stars. It was one of his best times on Porn Stars to meet Bob Dylan. He says that Dylan signing a record for him was a surprise and the best part of his time on the show. He had a memorable meeting with Bob Dylan which led to him being in Dylan's music video for Like a Rolling Stone. He got the chance to work on a one-of-a-kind project because of the short meeting that turned into something exciting. He had looked up to Mick Foley since he was a child, so meeting him was another exciting night for him. It made me think of good times, which made the experience even more important. It was brand new when someone brought in a Nintendo Mike Tyson's Punch-Out game one day. They asked for $70,000, but the store could only give them $60,000. He couldn't help but think about how much the game might be worth now that there was talk of a second fight between Tyson and Holyfield. He played video games like Super Mario Bros. And Donkey Kong for hours on end as a child. These old Nintendo games brought back memories. But Rick, who owns the shop, always has to make sure the numbers make sense when there are big deals like this. He also talked about a time when they gave away a lot of Pokemon cards, including some Charizard cards that are now very valuable. He thought about whether Rick felt bad about not buying them when they had the chance. Come inside the busy pawn shop for gold and silver. The joy of the deal. But this wasn't the only chance they missed. Rick is more likely to be careful, while Chumlee is more likely to be willing to take risks and give more money. Rick is very careful, which means he misses some chances to make money, but it also keeps him from making mistakes that cost a lot of money. Deals with a lot at stake make their job exciting. It gets even more exciting and stressful when the shop is looking at deals worth $100,000 or more. Rick is usually very careful, but sometimes he can't resist the chance to make a lot of money quickly on the right deal. Every day is different at the Las Vegas gold and silver pawn shop. There are hard choices to make and unexpected finds to make. Aside from Pokemon cards and old video games, these one-of-a-kind moments have made his time on Porn Stars stand out. Each item has the potential to be a treasure chest and leads to exciting talks. Though he thought the outbreak would make prices go down, he saw that there were more people wanting things and fewer items being sold. He says that he sold some of his Pokemon cards before they were worth as much because he thought the value would go down during the slump. That did not happen though. It can be hard for buyers to know when to buy or sell. For those Pokemon cards, he had worked hard to find the most unusual ones he could find. He also talks about how people are really into collecting cards again. It can be hard to get new cards, whether they are sports cards or other types. It can be even harder to find rare, expensive cards. Because there aren't many of them, fans are even more interested, which drives up prices. Companies that make cards are now making them less often to keep them special, which makes them more desirable to collectors. A customer once brought in a Pokemon card and asked if it was a fake. He said it was true. He is very sensible because he used to be a pawn shop owner, even though he loves collecting things, especially Star Wars items. Instead of expensive old things, he would rather buy new things that might go up in value over time. He focuses on things that young people like now in the hopes that they will become valuable collectibles in the future. But now comes the hard part. He is still hopeful about collecting, but he knows that the market can change quickly. He thinks that you can still make money if you understand it well. His thoughts are shaped by his own life, his love of collecting things, and his job as the owner of a pawn shop. There was a time when Rick bought toys for $300, but they were only worth $250. He couldn't help but feel a little good about his right guess, since Rick hates losing money on deals. He even said nice things about the doll's clothes, comparing them to expensive clothes for people but in a tiny size. He was friends with the artist who made them. He has worked with Rick and the team for years and says that times like this don't happen very often, but are part of the job. Because everyone on the team has their own ideas and skills, they don't always agree on what to buy. As it turned out, he was right, which made things a little weird, but Rick did something else wrong too. There are also times when Rick bought things like old papers or collectibles that turned out to be fake or not worth nearly as much as he thought they were. Since then, Rick has learned to carefully check things out before spending a lot of money on them. This has kept him from losing more money on bad purchases. Now see why each choice you make at the pawn shop is important. How to pawn something. Chumlee knows that there is a lot of danger and uncertainty in running a pawn shop, even with these mistakes. Sometimes you have to make a quick choice because the seller could go somewhere else if they don't get an offer soon. This need to act quickly can make people make bad decisions, and not all of them work out. His experiences show how hard and satisfying it can be to run a pawn shop, where part of the job is to figure out what things are worth, make sure they are real, and keep an eye on market trends. Success can look different in this one-of-a-kind field. A well-known worker at the pawn shop told some tales about the good and bad times he had while working with unique and rare items. He made a big mistake when he bought a stand-up bass guitar before the show started. He paid a lot of money for something that turned out to be fake. He lost $155,000 because the item was never returned because of this mistake. He learned from this mistake though, and over time became better at making choices. On the other hand, he talked about a recent win, a chair by the artist I that he bought during an episode of the show. The fact that he called it both useful and beautiful shows how much he values things that are both useful and beautiful. He's also very interested in samurai swords, especially ones from the 1500s. He loves these swords because they have a lot of history and were made very well. Big names like UFC President Dana White often buy these things before he can, even though they are his favorites. He also thought back to chances he had missed, like the Chumlee collection in the Charizard card lot. It was either too expensive or too hard for the shop to buy these things, but he still likes them a lot. He doesn't buy anything from the shop for himself, even though he wants to. He was very clear about the need for self-control. Every day, new and interesting things come into the shop that amaze him. Besides that, he talked about how the pawn shop business has changed, especially since the pandemic started. Even though there are fewer people walking by, he said that the main business of pawning things is still going strong. People still bring in things to pawn in order to get cash quickly, either to pay for urgent costs or to deal with the current economic downturn. That being said, he hasn't been perfect. He talked about bad things he's done in the past, like getting fake Rolex watches. He's much more careful now. Before making big purchases, especially late at night, he talks to either Corey or Rick, who works with him. Other people in the shop, like Corey's younger brother Jake, have learned from his experience with fake Rolexes. It's part of the shop's mindset that mistakes are meant to be learned from and used to make things better. Even though there were problems with the pandemic and risks in the pawn business, his time there taught him how important it is to learn and change when working with such a wide range of interesting and useful things. He talked about how pawn shops have always been good places for people to get money when they need it. He said that these shops are safe places for people who need to get money quickly.